This next topic, we've decided to do a little segment on top 10 wasted careers.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds very harsh, that, doesn't it? You know,
We're gunning for people this
we're,
episode.
we're sat recording a podcast and we're about to tear down successful footballers for wasting their careers. But, I mean, we don't mean it with malice like that. But it's an interesting one. I've seen some people do similar things, so we thought we'd weigh in and put our lists out there. I'd be interested to see how many similar ones we have.
The thing is, obviously, we're not trying to slate people's careers or anything, players' careers, but it is interesting to get people's opinions on this because we've seen a couple going about and everyone seems to have different names and different players and different reasons for that.
Yeah.
So it's worth us having a little go of it.
Yeah,
so
like we say, it's not necessarily to say that these players didn't have a successful career. I've tried to steep away from people like that. But
well, it's actually pointing out, to be honest, when you bring that up, it's actually pointing out how good these players were.
Yeah, because you're saying you think they could have done more.
Yeah.
There's a few that I didn't put in because I thought it was too harsh. And what I would say is sort of like my top 3 or 4, I was quite set on them being high up. The rest of them kind of just fall in. Like, I wouldn't say when I rank one at 5 and one at 6, there's not a lot in it for me personally. I mean, personally, I've not got much of a stake in a lot of these anyway. There's a couple that I feel like I witnessed happen more than others. But
so what we'll do, you say your list from 10 to 1, and we'll have a bit of a discussion why you've put players in certain places if I agree with them, and we'll do.
You don't want to go through one and the other. You want me to just go through my list?
No, because I think we'll end up losing track of who's got who. So
okay,
we'll just have a discussion with them.
Well, I'll just count mine down then.
You starting from 10?
Yes. At number 10, I've got the glimmering light of the Louis van Gaal era, Adnan Januzaj.
Oh, that's a good shout, that.
Makes it in for me personally. There might be people that you'd put in and get in above you, but I was so excited about this guy. He was the only really, like I say, bit of hope in Van Gaal football, I think. And
well, it was Moyes. He was like the star player, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Yeah, you're right. It was Moyes, and then Van Gaal axed him. Really, I think, didn't he? But
he tried him a bit, but didn't work out.
Yeah, I think he looked great. It looked like the academy had delivered another fantastic product, and I thought, what a career this guy's going to have if he's hit the ground running as good as he has now. And I absolutely loved him. And then the fall off was absolutely shocking, and I just don't think I would have ever predicted it. So
Real Sociedad, right?
Sociedad, yeah. I think, where is he now? I want to say, did he end up? I don't know, actually. I don't want to make myself look like an idiot here, but I don't know if he went back to the Belgian league or not.
Yeah, I think so, but just with you not knowing where he is just shows how much of a fall off.
Yeah, there is that. I mean, he did score against England in like the third place playoff.
Yes, he did, yeah.
The World Cup or something, but I mean, that's about all I could tell you about him apart from that. He went to Sunderland, I think, and was shit there as well. They actually booed him.
I don't know.
I think that's right. Number 9, Jack Wilshere. Feel a bit harsh about this one because
do you know what?
It's injury plagued.
Yeah, but that is an amazing shout. I completely forgot about it.
If I remember rightly, he broke through at 16, 17. He played something like 40 plus games in that first season or in one of his first seasons. He had that game where he played against like a prime Barcelona and he looked unbelievable. And I think Arsenal fans were rightly thinking, this guy is going to be in our team for 10 plus years. What a player Arsenal and England have got.
You had massive players as well, big names saying how good this guy was.
Yeah, when you watch clips, we were obviously younger at the time, but watch clips and watch him at the time, he was a baller on his day.
Yeah.
And I feel harsh putting him on the list because I think it's an injury related fall off. Yeah. But he still makes my list on the basis that I think the expectation was so high for how well he did and how early he broke through.
It wasn't down to like bad attitude. Maybe he did have one, I don't know, but it wasn't out there that he had a bad attitude. So it was more
he seemed like
injuries,
a good professional.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a shame. It's one that I'd be gutted about if it was a United player. You know, I'm not that bothered because he was an Arsenal player, but you got to feel sorry for him because he was a good talent. Number 8, one a little bit more recent. I've got Dele Alli, which feels maybe quite harsh because he's still playing. But again, maybe not on the level of Wilshere. Higher, better than Januzaj when he was breaking through, the kind of goals he could score. He was strong on the ball. He even looked good for England as well. I was thinking, this guy's going to be immense for England. Spurs have got a proper player. And to be honest, I always saw him getting a move from Spurs to a big club.
Yeah.
And then it all just came tumbling down. Mourinho called him out in that prime thing that they did with Tottenham.
And that was because his training attitude.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
And I know he's done those interviews and he's apparently had this issues off the pitch, so I don't want to read too much into that.
No, that's what I was going to say, actually, because we don't want to come across the wrong way.
No.
But even before that, your attitude in training and stuff like that, even before all this stuff that's going on in the back and all this stuff, like, you could have been better.
Yeah, he had the loan move to Everton or a permanent move to Everton. I don't know.
I think it was loan and permanent.
Went to Besiktas.
Yeah.
Just never really impressed, did he? And, one thing that sticks out to me and makes me have him in this list is Sir Alex Ferguson. Mourinho had been speaking to Sir Alex Ferguson. And he said, "What's one player that you would go and sign?"
Said him, didn't he?
And he said Dele Alli.
Yeah.
And as much as we could all see how good he was, when someone who's so knowledgeable about football is saying that's the guy that from the Premier League that I would go and take.
Yeah.
And he's had the fall off he's had. Again, could he turn it around? It's possible. I think it's past it personally, but he gets in.
Sometimes when you've gone that far left, it's hard to get back on the right track.
Yeah, I think so. I think someone would be taking a real punt on him now, and there'd have to be a massive turnaround in terms of his level of performances.
Yeah.
Number 7, I've got a United player, Ravel Morrison, heralded as being the most naturally gifted youth player Sir Alex Ferguson had ever seen in the academy.
Yeah.
They were joking with him and saying to the other lads, like, telling Rooney, he's better than you. He's better than you were when you were that age.
Yeah.
This one, obviously, he had all of his own issues. I think he was in with the wrong crowd. I think the attitude probably wasn't great. And to the point where Fergie persisted with him for a while and then eventually reluctantly sort of let him go. And he failed to impress anywhere he went.
He's come out in interviews and he said, he was in the wrong crowd and all this, and he regrets it and all that, which is fair play. But like I say, what could have been?
I can't wrap my head around that he didn't recognise how good of an opportunity he had right in front of him.
Yeah.
When you're breaking through in one of the biggest teams in world football, at a successful time for the club as well.
Yeah.
With stars and legends of the game in that team, with a fantastic manager, and you managed to sort of let it all go. And just more for that, I don't think there was a massive expectation for people outside of Manchester United necessarily, but this was a guy that was talked about within the United fan base, and everybody was raving about him at that time.
Yeah, when United youth team was winning things, it was because of him. It was in a team of Pogba, Jesse Lingard. So all these players made it to United.
And obviously
this guy was better.
He made it, but never made it for United, got moved on. Didn't really impress anyway. I think wherever he went at the time, I think Sam Allardyce was manager. He couldn't get anything out of him.
I did see a couple of his games when he moved to a Premier League team, and I forgot which team it was. And he did look all right, but you could tell there was a player there, but you can tell it's already just gone for him.
Yeah, I think
chance is gone.
Very disappointing one. What could have been for United. The next one might seem a little bit harsh, but I've thrown him in because I just think the disappointment level from maybe what people thought of him, just he never really reached it, and he had some opportunities at some big clubs, and it's James Rodriguez.
Yeah, good shout.
He is one of those where it is maybe
still one.
You've had a good international tournament and you've signed for a big fee.
Yeah.
But this guy played at Real Madrid. He played at Bayern. I mean, he didn't even look good at Everton, I didn't think. But
he had a good season, to be fair.
Yeah, for Everton.
But after that,
at that level.
Yeah.
But this guy looked unbelievable. And I know this happens from time to time. You have a worldie tournament, you get a big move, and it doesn't really work out. That to me, not on the same level. That looks like Amrabat for us right now.
Even when he was but before he had that promising move to Real Madrid and the tournament and everything, he was playing for Porto and he was still recognised by big teams then.
Yeah, he was like a known player. Yeah. He was on the sort of radar for clubs.
Yeah.
looking at him. But I think maybe it's quite harsh to have him that high, but I didn't feel that passionately about the majority of those ones, bar Ravel Morrison and Januzaj with the United connection.
Yeah.
But definitely worth a mention, just on the basis that he had the opportunity at some big clubs, and I don't think he quite lived up to expectation. So I'd say it was more of a flop maybe than a wasted career. But I mean, did he go on and really win anything that he was part of? Not really, I don't think. Even if, I don't know, my brain when I think about these things isn't the best, but when he was at Madrid and Bayern, did he win anything? Maybe. Was he at the forefront of that? No. So he makes my list. Into the top 5 then.
Okay.
Number 5, Mario Balotelli.
Okay.
Has to be in the list. I think he also has to be relatively high. He had to be in the top 5 somewhere for me.
Honestly, he was like a young striker coming in through Inter Milan. That's when everyone started to see like this guy. He was the next big thing. Yeah, like the next big striker. He was that guy, and his attitude absolutely stunk.
Absolutely stunk. So the arguments with Jose Mourinho. Do you think it was like a pre-season game where he's like backheeled it off the pitch? He just took him straight off the pitch.
That was City.
At City, yeah.
Mancini.
Oh, was it Mancini?
Yeah.
But yeah, Mourinho, absolutely. I think he had a bit of a weird relationship with him.
Did you hear about that? One of them stories. Mourinho obviously laughed about it now, but he weren't back then. But he said he was in Champions League or something. He went like, "Please, Mario, you're on a yellow. I need you.
Yeah,
like, I need you for this game. Like, I need you for the next game as well. I need you so bad. Please don't go in. Like, don't get a red. Don't go in for a tackle." And he said like that was at half time. And he said, like, 46th minute, he gets sent off. It was something like that. It was very early in the second half.
You could sum it up. Wasted career might seem harsh. This guy still won trophies. But the when we're getting into this high end of my list now, it's because the expectation was so high.
Yeah.
Did he live up to the hype? No. He had some big moves and some big opportunities, and he still won some trophies. But he has to make this list because this guy was supposed to be the dog's bollocks.
Yes, yeah. And he was good, but...
Yeah, he was good on his day. Number 4, I've got Ricardo Quaresma. Come through at the same time as Ronaldo, I think, or similar time to Ronaldo through Sporting Academy.
Ronaldo's bestie.
Went to Barcelona. Everybody was sort of saying he's going to be, as good as Cristiano. Him and Cristiano are going to be like these guys. And his fall off was unbelievable. I mean, immediately from getting the Sporting move, really. Just on the floor. One I can't speak on too massively because it's not like I was watching Sporting or Barcelona at that age.
Yeah.
But it's someone that I know that in the footballing community, people talk about this guy a lot as being a real waste of talent, which is a shame.
Yeah.
So again, because of the level, when you're being compared with the likes of Cristiano and you get a move to Barcelona and don't manage to make it work and then fail to do it anywhere else in your career at a high level.
I think they grew up together playing, didn't they? But like in Quaresma's shoes, if you see your mate Ronaldo like going on to what he's done now, there must be so much regretting.
Thinking I had these opportunities.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's in there. The next one, I feel like I can talk a little bit more on, but equally didn't see a ridiculous amount. But my number 3 is Alexandre Pato.
Yep, good shot.
Again, had some successes in his early career. Came through the AC Milan academy. Everyone was saying he's going to be like the next Kaká because they just had Kaká come through not long before. Everybody was talking about him. He got some big moves away from that as well. I mean, he had the weirdest one being the loan move to Chelsea where I think he played 2 games or something like that.
Yeah.
And I do feel bad because I feel like his did come from injury again. Pato just has to make it in there. The hype around this guy was crazy. It's similar to the way I was talking about Quaresma, about Balotelli.
Do you know what the hype was for as well, mainly? Brazil were just like coming towards the end of their like Ronaldo, all that era. So Pato was supposed to be like that guy, the next Brazilian striker up there, and it just never happened.
They always tell this story, don't they? I forgot. I always remember this story, but I forgot it was associated with Pato, where when he came into AC Milan changing room and somebody said to him like, "Oh, you can either hang out with those guys or those guys," and one was like Ronaldinho and a couple of the other lads, and they would all go out the piss, and one was like Kaká, and they were all like loved church and things like that, and I think that made it an easy decision who he wanted to knock him out with. But
who did he knock him out with?
Ronaldinho. I think my next one's going to be quite controversial, and off the back of last week, it's going to seem like I've got some sort of vendetta against this player based on how I spoke about him last week and how I'm going to throw him in quite highly here, and it's Pogba. And for me, this again, this guy's won a World Cup.
Yeah,
he was successful in Italy. I wouldn't say he was successful at United. Obviously, I alluded to my feelings on that last week. If you don't know, maybe go check out last week's pod or the United video that we'll be bringing out soon. But this guy's technical ability and hype was like this guy was going to be the next fucking, like the resurrection and forthcoming of Zidane. Like,
yeah,
this guy had all the ability in the world. You know, very much like, reminded me a bit like Yaya Toure, the way he could run with the ball. He was strong, he was big, he was quite techie on the ball. And I just don't think he's lived up to that expectation at all. I think the United move absolutely killed his career.
Ego got in the way.
Yeah, and obviously he won a World Cup. So this guy's not going to go down as a failure. But for how good people thought he was going to be, I don't understand how... To me, this guy's career is a failure.
It's not just the United part coming back, though. Because, as we spoke about it last week, Fergie got rid of him for an attitude reason.
Yeah, he clearly didn't like his attitude.
Yeah.
So I've got to have him in the list, and I have him high up because it bothers me so much. Yeah. I thought when we brought him back, obviously we know now at the time. At the time, I was excited about the signing. Despite the fact he'd left the academy and we'd spent all this money, he looked shit hot and everyone wanted him.
Yeah.
So I was so happy that we managed to bring him in, and I felt personally let down.
Yeah.
So it really bothers me. Again, can you say he's had a poor career? You probably can't. This guy played for Manchester United, he played for Juventus, he has won trophies with those clubs, and he's won a World Cup. But in terms of wasted career, he has to make it on the list for me because I just expected him to achieve so much more.
Yeah.
Number one, I feel like this is like unanimous across if people were making these lists.
Okay, go on.
It's Adriano.
Okay.
This guy was unplayable and then just retired from football, disappeared. I mean,
so
his dad died.
Yeah, I've got the reason.
And he just never really found his love or wanted to play anymore, did he? And he retired not long after.
So the thing with Adriano is he was insane.
That's what I mean. When I'm talking about how good these players are, this guy was the best of the bunch.
Yeah, and what happened was he came out and he says he lost his dad. His dad was his biggest fan, watched him play every game. It was what kept him going. And when he lost his dad, he turned to alcohol and just...
wasn't interested in it anymore.
Yeah, just went off.
And it's a real shame. So for me to say that, put him at number one and say, you had a wasted career, it seems awfully harsh, and that's not the way I mean it.
But we flip it as, you were the best out of this bunch here.
Yeah, there's no disrespect there at all, but the level this guy was at, I mean, when somebody says wasted career, it's the first player that comes to my head.
Yeah.
Because of how good he was. I even remember using him on PES. The guy was a cheat code. It's like he had sliders on all the time on FIFA, like. So, yeah, real shame. I think there's a few you could put in there. I do have an honourable mention, but I will let you go.
Should we do honourable mentions after, yeah?
Yeah. My honourable mention might not go down the best. I don't think my Pogba one's going to go down great, but...
Well, there was a few on there that I haven't got, and there's a few on mine that you haven't got, I think, so... Okay, so we'll start from 10th then. So I've actually got Dele Alli in 10th.
Yeah.
Like you say, his ceiling was really high, and he just, for some weird reasons, I know obviously he's come out with his backstory and all that, but yeah, he should have been doing much better, I think.
I think he'd have turned it round at Spurs under another manager, but the way he sort of looked and the fact they did that whole programme about Spurs, it didn't paint him in a good light. Then.
No, not many people can hack, especially the new generation, not many people can hack Mourinho. You've got to have a strong mindset for Mourinho, but yeah, it's what it is. 9, I have got Ruben Neves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's wasted his career. 24, 25, moving to Saudi?
I do agree with the sentiment, but I just think
he was such a good midfielder.
Because of his age, I think you'll see him make a load of bags over there and come back and play for a good team again, potentially. And so it might be a bit of an early shout. You might be bang on the money. That might be the last we see of him. And then for a player as talented as he is, I would agree with you. But I don't know. I'm inclined to say that one feels a bit harsh. But I do think the Saudi move's terrible for him.
So he's 26.
Yeah.
So if he stays over there makes his bags for 2 years, he's 28. That's his prime years. Comes back, goes
Does a big club want you when you've played in Saudi for 2 years?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's scouting in Saudi.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right. The only thing
Maybe
you could
comes
say,
back to Wolves, but it's still a wasted career for me.
I don't hate the shout. The only, like I say, I feel like it's a little bit harsh. But I do kind of understand where you're coming from.
This is a bit of personal reasons as well, because I wanted him for years at United.
He's upset you.
Yeah, I can't believe he moved to there. I know he did want a move to Barcelona. He really did, and I think one fell through, and it never went back. So yeah, I think he just went Saudi out of like pity.
The only thing I would say is, I'm sure the club he's gone to has got some sort of affiliation with a Premier League team, so he could maybe get a move through them, which would get him a shoe into a good team again. But yeah,
number 8, I've got Pato.
Yeah, he's got to be in there.
Quite high up for mine, though, isn't he?
I just thought I sort of did it in my head how high their ceilings were. And the ones that I thought were really, really high, I tried to put higher up.
He was good. I just didn't see that much of him to maybe put him as high as...
The media hype and the hype around the clubs he played for, which were huge profile clubs, and the Brazilian nation, was very big.
You always see it, remember that goal, don't you, what he scored against Barca?
Run.
They kicked off and he just fucking went straight away, didn't he?
Different gravy.
That was number 8. So at number 7, I've got Mario Götze.
I don't hate that shout. I did think about him.
The only reason why you probably haven't put him in yours, he did win the World Cup. He scored.
He did score a World Cup winning goal.
Yeah, he scored the World Cup winning goal. But.
And you would argue, I was going to say, they never did anything past that.
But he was the next big thing in Germany, though. Yeah,
and then he's just flip-flopped between teams. Didn't he even go away from Bayern Dortmund? Didn't he go to someone else as well?
He's somewhere else now.
Is he?
Yeah, I forgot where it is.
It is in Germany, isn't it?
He did go to... It's the badge that's got like white and black.
In Germany?
Yeah. It's not Stuttgart, it's someone else. Frankfurt, maybe.
I don't know.
It's someone like that.
That sounds right, because isn't Donny van der Beek there? And I think they've linked up. I think you might be right, actually.
Yeah, so I just think he has definitely wasted his career there.
Yeah, and again, it's someone that I wouldn't throw any disrespect on. This guy scored a goal that will live in the memory of his nation forever.
Yes. Yeah.
But he looks shit on, and I don't think he never pushed on massively from that level, did he?
Even when he was at that stage, he was still flopping.
Yeah, and he was sort of he still
came on.
Wasn't established then, was he?
Yeah. So that was number 7. So at number 6, I've got Alan Shearer.
Oh no. People are going to absolutely kill you for that.
The amount of Premier Leagues, maybe a Champions League that he could have won, and he's got, one?
And he got his team relegated.
Did you? Well, he didn't get his team relegated.
Well, he was part and parcel of a relegation.
Yep.
Shearer sent you down.
Chose his boyhood club over United and cost him medals and trophies. I know he probably doesn't regret it. But...
I've got a lot of time for it Obviously, I don't care. I'm a United fan through and through. I'm not bitter that he didn't join us because it didn't change things for us. Could he have been successful? Massively so.
Oh, yeah.
But you are putting the all-time Premier League scorer in your wasted career list.
Yep.
I couldn't quite bring myself to do it. I agree with you.
I still think Kane's going to be it. Still think he's going to come
back?
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible.
It's only about 20, 30 goals he's got to get.
I can't remember. Yeah, we did talk about it on the pod, didn't we, before he moved? But
I still think he's going to be it. So technically, it's not the all-time, but
people are going to hate that. Absolutely hate it.
You got to admit though, he could have done a lot more.
I think he could have if he went to Manchester United, or even if he got a move. There must have been other clubs in for him as well. So I mean, it was more than possible that he could have delivered a lot more. But I don't think he would change any of that.
Well, you're going to hate another one as well that I've got here as well. Okay, so.
I don't hate that, by the way.
Oh,
I
do
just
you
think
not?
other people will hate that.
Okay.
I can side with you a little bit there.
Okay. Other people will hate this other one as well then. So fifth, I've actually got Balotelli.
Yep. Easy. He's a shoe-in, isn't he? He has
yeah.
to be in the list.
Yeah, we talked about him on yours anyway, didn't we? I actually really liked Balotelli. The arrogance and that I loved.
I hated him when he was
tried a bit harder.
I hated him when he was at City because he was that kind of character and he played for City.
Yeah.
Overall, that kind of character in football, I've got a lot of time for. Makes it entertaining.
Yeah. Number 4, Gerrard.
You've not. You're on a wind-up, aren't you? You're just winding people up. It's going to go down like a lead balloon.
Well, it's true, isn't it? The amount of stuff Gerrard could have won. He was linked to Real Madrid. Could have won numerous Champions Leagues there. I know he's won a Champions League and he's a club legend. But think of the career that Gerrard could have had.
Yeah, he still had a glistening career, didn't he? But
he's never won a Premier League. He could have had. Oh, mate.
That's one thing I will stand up and say. Obviously, it's no disrespect because he was a fantastic footballer. But when people make these like best 11s for the Premier League era and he's in it, how can you have a player that didn't win that competition in your best 11 of that ever?
Yeah.
I know that doesn't change your footballing ability.
Yeah.
But if you're paying homage to the league that you're playing in, surely everyone's got to have won it and won it several times, maybe. That's one thing that always knocks him down a bit for me. It was never his ability as a footballer. But you can't go down as a great compared to others that did win that competition when you didn't.
Well, this is how I look at it. Gerrard, one of the best players in Premier League history, and even to play the game, Gerrard, iconic.
Yeah.
He should have won more.
Should have won more. I wouldn't say it was the wasted career sounds awful.
Oh no!
I mean, you're the one saying it, not me.
No, that sounds awful. I know.
Are you ready to go to war in the comments?
Yeah, I always am. But yeah, I know it sounds awful. You're a club legend. I know I'm basically saying here that loyalty doesn't go a long way, but I'm looking at it as if I was a footballer, I'd prefer to look back at my time with at least opportunities to get these trophies and in a better position to get these trophies rather than say if.
But he did always have those opportunities at Liverpool. They just failed
had the
to deliver.
opportunities, but then the amount of times that they finished outside the top 4, and he was just staying with people like Ngog at Liverpool. Like, come on, you should have done what Rooney did. Like, I still respect Rooney for doing what he did. He said he wanted to stay at United, but he went in and asked for a transfer because he saw that we weren't getting anyone.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Maybe Gerrard should have done that, but yeah.
I'll let you argue with everyone in the comments. Please leave me out of it, guys. I might have said a few things you don't agree with, but this is all him.
Cap guy.
Yeah, cap guy's back.
Right, so that was me number 4. So I've got Pogba at 3.
Oh, I thought you weren't going to have Pogba in at all.
Yeah, no,
I like
Pogba.
that.
Yeah.
I've got him at 2, so we're nearly at level there.
So I think, I don't know if you got this guy. At number 2, I've got Oscar.
I didn't have Oscar, no. Went to China at 20-something.
24, maybe? Like,
he was
honestly.
shit hot as well. He was
China, moving to China is worse than going Saudi, honestly.
Probably is, because the amount of players that have gone to Saudi now, there is actually quite a half-decent amount of talent out there. China, there was only ever sort of one player at a time.
I know, I think Mata and David Silva went there, didn't they? But only for like...
Did Lineker play in... No, he played in Japan, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Korea or so. I don't know. He played in some Asian country, but...
Yeah. Well, yeah, that...
Fellaini went to China. Has he not make your list?
Fellaini? No.
Love Fellaini.
If anything, he overachieved. No,
Fellaini has a better Manchester United legacy for me than Paul Pogba. Put that in your fucking TikTok.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah. Oscar, like, when I was watching for Chelsea, I was like, this kid can play. This kid's going to, like, go
for
far.
Brazil as well.
Yeah, he was good as well.
I like it. It's a good shout. I forgot about him. I wouldn't have him that high, but I like him in the list.
Do you know why I've got him that high? I think the age came into it. Moving to China at such a young age, it's like, that is literally the definition of waste.
He's done interviews about it before, saying, like, the fact that his kids will all be rich, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like,
so
it's like family first.
Well, that says to me, like,
it's respectable in its own right.
You're good at football, but you mustn't love football.
Yeah, well, in some sense,
maybe priorities change when you go to get a family and that. And
but you're still earning bags anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he couldn't have lived comfortably.
Mate, your kids and all that can still live.
Yeah, maybe you wouldn't have as much there, but you'd still be absolutely wadded.
Come on, greedy bastard. Right, anyway.
So have you got the same number one?
I have. Adriano, yeah.
Adriano. I think I'd be interested to see what people... I imagine we'll put this out on YouTube or something at some point.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if anybody's got any mentions there. I want to know if my honourable mention is the same as yours.
Go on.
I didn't quite... I mean, you went ballsy with yours. You've thrown Shearer and Gerrard in the mix. That's on you. This guy, I just thought there'd been backlash because it looked like I don't respect how good of a player this guy is. But if we're talking wasted careers, I'm going to go Neymar.
No, so someone said that, and I saw a video of it, and I was like...
I have to...
I'm on the fence, because you can see how you move in your prime years to PSG... when you could be going to the Prem or even...
the Bundesliga or Serie A.
Italy. Yeah, like anywhere but League One.
Yeah, you're not... He obviously had all the successes. I think he's Brazil's all-time goal scorer in his lifetime, certainly. Obviously, you've got fucking Pele scoring goals against his dad in the back garden, counting them on his tally.
He picked lifestyle over career, though.
I do equally think, though, he was involved in such a successful front three with Messi and Suarez, one of the best in our lifetime.
Do you know what? I probably wouldn't even have left. I know Neymar wanted to leave to get out of Messi's limelight, but I wouldn't have left.
But
that was insane front three.
To then go and... If you want to propel yourself and you want to be still... Because he was competing for Ballon d'Ors.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't win them, but he was competing for Ballon d'Ors. And if he wanted a move where he could be the man and take a club to glory and maybe get that recognition, PSG was never that move. It was a bad move. He stayed there for far too long, and then he's gone from there to the Saudi League. And he'll go down as a great, because in my opinion, behind Messi and Ronaldo, he's the next best player. Maybe Gareth Bale gets in there.
Didn't he move to Saudi at 31 as well? So 31, like, players are still doing well.
Yeah, like he could still play well.
But
I think he'd already wound down
over
at PSG.
Over the years, the amount of times that Neymar's been decked and that,
the
probably
injuries
take a
as well.
toll. Yeah.
Injuries a shame. And this is why I didn't put him in my list. But would I personally say that I think he's wasted his career? A huge portion of it, yeah. He got a taste of success and delivered fantastic success.
Probably one of the most entertaining players you could ever watch.
Yeah, and I think he does split opinion because a lot of people hated him because he was like, he'd be diving, he's very theatrical. But he was shit on the ball.
I loved him.
His technical ability was second to none. He could score all kinds of goals. And in that front three, he was electric. But that's all he'll be... And this is not me downplaying it, but that is all he'll be remembered for.
Yeah.
Unless you're Brazilian and he's scored goals for your
nation. He's the all-time scorer, isn't he, for Brazil?
Well, I thought so, but then I was thinking Pele must be, but I'm sure I've heard that I'm sure Neymar is.
Neymar is, yeah.
But yeah, I think he's my honourable mention on the basis that, to me, you can't look at it and say... He also didn't deliver the Champions League at PSG, which is ultimately what he would have wanted to do.
He came very close and he was the main man.
Yeah, and they lost to Bayern in the final.
Yeah.
That's during COVID, I think.
And he had a cracking game as well.
He failed to do it. They didn't win it. And that changes the whole dynamic for me when I'm thinking about his career. So didn't put him in my list because I couldn't quite bring myself to do it and say that it's a wasted career when he achieved the success he did. But I look at, he's had more of his career, or an equal 50-50 of his career, being particularly underwhelming.
Yeah.
For what? And underwhelming's a compliment to him, by the way, because he set the standards very high. But
well, I threw two big names in my actual list, but you threw a name. You didn't really want to put that name in your list, did you?
No, I didn't really. I'm like arguing with myself. I didn't really agree to put it in. But
yeah.
I kind of.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because I rated him very highly. Have you got anyone else, or?
No, that's me. That's all the names off my tongue.
So I thought I'd mention Anderson for United, but this one's another one as well. So he
was successful at United.
He retired at 31,
which is poor, really.
Which is a waste. But a lot of Brazilians do.
Yeah. And they all go fat.
Yeah.
No, we all get fat. It's not just you Brazilians.
It didn't take me till 31 to get fat.
And you're not Brazilian.
I like to think I am.
I like to think you play like you're Brazilian.
Yeah. But Anderson, like a lot of people do say, and I kind of like can see where they're coming from. Maybe he overachieved because he was in a United side that was winning everything, and he weren't as good. But he was like I swear he had like a Golden Boy award in like around 2008.
There was a
2009.
lot of hype. A lot of hype. And I don't think he quite delivered to that expectation.
Well, another thing you will say is on the pitch, you could tell it was an attitude problem because even sometimes you could catch him walking. You can catch him walking about.
Yeah.
And you just there like, come on, like when we've seen a clip last week, haven't we, of Rashford just like walking and Ross Barkley running past him.
Shocking that, yeah.
It was stuff like that on the pitch sometimes, but yeah, I thought I'd throw him in because he retired a bit too early and maybe left United a bit too early.
I think there was a lot of, like you say, it comes down to the hype, doesn't it? Obviously, he still achieved, so it's a tough argument to make. But I mean, you made the argument for Shearer and Gerrard, and I made the argument potentially to throw Neymar's name into the hat. So winning something doesn't keep you out the list.
That's what we said at the start. The beauty of this is everyone seems to have different lists.
Yeah, I'd like to know if there's some big glaring ones that anyone thinks we've missed. I mean, there'll be some that are probably huge howlers, but probably predate us a little bit. Like even Adriano, I know through everybody talking about it. Do you know what I mean? I don't remember that at the time. Similar with Quaresma, really. Like it's just something that you hear through the grapevine when people enter these conversations.
If you was going off like just pure ability and what they could have been, you can even say Ronaldinho could have been better for longer periods. Because he only had like 5-6 years of it.
Yeah, at that, like the level was very good.
Yeah, oh, amazing! Like Ronaldinho is probably one of the best we've ever seen.
People make the argument, and I don't agree with it. Rooney, because the level, it's ridiculous to say because he's Manchester United's top goal scorer.
The amount of stuff he's won as well,
and he was England's, and he won absolutely everything with Manchester United. But did people maybe want to see a bit more from him because he was like England's golden boy, United's golden boy? I think he was fantastic, but when people make that argument, whilst I don't agree with it at all, I can sort of see where they're coming from.
I kind of can't because you can't win that much. So I counter the argument where
the guy never won a golden boot. I know that doesn't really matter, but that's crazy to me.
But I'd just go. He's what? Did he win? He won one Champions League at United.
Yeah, we got to a final as well. He won every trophy for United. He even won the Europa League.
Yeah, so what more could he won? Could he have won elsewhere? Maybe if you said like he goes to Real Madrid, maybe he could have won more Champions Leagues. But that's the only thing.
Maybe not wasted careers, but in terms of, and obviously I'm not making the argument here. I'm just I've heard people talk about him in this way before, where because the bar was so high and you're looking at him going, God, this guy's going to get better and better and better. And he kind of peaked and started to drop off. I mean, look at the guy now as well. Like compared to Cristiano, who obviously treats himself very well, who is older than Rooney. And look at Rooney right now, man. Like that guy didn't treat his body the same way.
No. Well, like you say about Brazilians, they don't either.
No, but I mean, he achieved a lot. But you would say maybe when you saw him coming through the age he was, you'd think, God, this guy's going to get better and better and better, and he's going to take. You know how people are feeling about Jude Bellingham right now. Like that's the first time there's been a hype around an English player since Rooney. Like I know City fans are going to come for me and go on about Foden and stuff, but Foden got bedded in so slowly, and City kind of go under the radar anyway. Let's be honest. Like in terms of the media hype,
yeah, so that dominant,
but. Bellingham's the only English player I've seen get the treatment that Wayne Rooney got in terms of how everyone's talking like this guy is going to be... People are throwing him in potential Ballon d'Or winner bracket and he's winning games for Real Madrid.
Yeah, but the only reason I put him so highly and I actually wouldn't even consider him being on this list ever because you don't see any attitude problems.
Who?
With Bellingham.
Oh, with Bellingham, yeah.
You did all the
He's done all the right things so
most
far.
of these players in my list have got attitude problems.
Yeah.
You don't see any of that, not even any signs of it.
No.
In Bellingham.
No. Bellingham, future Ballon d'Or winner, and we're going to win the fucking Euros.
We're going to win it.
We are. We're not even talking about that, but I'll just throw it in. If you're listening, England are going to win the Euros. Pencil the final into your calendar. Book the day off work. Because it's going to be a national holiday. Well, no, it won't be a national holiday because then you won't have to put the day off work. But it basically will be. It'll be a fucking ghost town.
Waste a holiday on the national holiday.
We're going to piss it.
Do you reckon they'll do a national holiday if they win it?
No.
They should?
No. Yeah, they definitely should. No one's going to want to work, especially if it ends up being on like a Sunday or something.
Imagine the
I
amount
booked the day
of...
off when we came here and watched the last one.
Oh, yeah?
We
got knocked out. Yeah, it was Italy.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, 4 years ago. COVID's just like...
Fuck off. No, it wasn't.
It must have been.
No, it got delayed, didn't it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's not every 4 years, but it's got delayed, didn't it?
Crazy.
So it would have been 2 years ago.
God, I don't know.
No, 3. Because then you had a World Cup after.
Yeah, it was just like a year out when it was supposed to be
Still a
2020,
long
and I
way.
think it ended up being 2021, didn't it?
COVID's like fast forwarded our years, like immense
Yeah, we could have. Look at what we could have achieved.
in our lives.
That's our excuse. COVID's held us back.
Yeah.